and
Mhm.
they told me not to worry, that I would do great. And as you stated to me, and as they stated to me, that this is something that has been in the works. So I'm ready to take my hat off and go for this meeting so we can move forward.
Thank you, Ree. Yeah, thank you. I did. I prayed about it, and God said, talk to Ree. Have Ree a part of your series. Okay, so Ree, this is how I start off with all folks. Tell us about yourself. Where are you from, and who are your people?
I'm originally from Culpeper, Virginia, in a
Mhm.
little town called Brandon Station, Virginia. Um, you are my people. Kenya's my people. I have more family that's still down there, but I've learned over the years that when you start a family of your own, you are they become your people. So that's like with you and your husband, he's your people. That's your main focal point. And that's like with anybody else, when they create that family becomes the main focal point. I'm not saying that I love my family any less. It's just that my people now are my husband and my kids. But other than that, my people are people that are true. They see me for who I am. They accept me for who I am. Um, they are able to come to me and say, "Hey, Ree," say, the ones that don't know me by Ree, will say to me, that's not right. You shouldn't be saying that." And that's one person that I can always count on. That's my girlfriend Teresa. She'll tell me in a heartbeat, "Well, that's wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't say that." And I'd be like, "Well, that's how I feel." Well, she's like, "I don't care. Um, I have another girlfriend that I work out with, and Tammy. Um, she'll just give me that look, like, you're not right. But she won't say too much because she knows that I'm just so overspoken. I'll speak over top of her. So, but that's who I see my people at being. My people are my immediate family, and then I have my original family that I grew up with, and then I have the ones that I have chosen along the pathway that God has put in my life that are my family. I look at my girlfriends as my family. I know that if I really really got to a point in life where I really couldn't get any further, they would help me to get back to the place I needed to go to. And that's not to say that at the least that I know my family, my true family, would do the same. But I have a mix of people that are in my family. So
Thank you, Ree. And so, as you think about your family, and I think about this lineage and namesake, can you tell us the story behind your name? So, your full name is what? Rosemary.
Rosemary Marie Franklin.
So, Rosemary Marie Franklin. Okay, tell us about
Yeah, yeah.
Rosemary Marie.
So um, Rose is after my mom's mom. And Mary's after mom, and then Marie is after Grammy, and that's why I like the name. That's why I asked my grandsons to call me Grammy, because it reminds me of Grammy. Grammy was one strong nail of a woman. She was very strong. Um, and I'm not saying that mom and my other grandmother wasn't strong, but out of all the women in the family, Grammy was the backbone of the Franklin side of the family, and she had a very strong character that touched a lot of her kids, her grandchildren, the great grandchildren. So she didn't live long enough to see all the great grandchildren, but those that she did see, she touched them.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
Grammy's name was what? I know it, but Grammy's
Alice
name is
Alice Marie Franklin.
Alice Marie Franklin.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And Grammy was her maiden. She was the Thompsons, right?
She was a Thompson. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So within our family, it was what? The Thompsons, the Franklins.
Franklin. Yeah. And
Okay.
then the on mom's side it was the Crops and Pollards and stuff like that. So yeah,
Mhm. Okay.
yeah.
Thank you for that. And then yeah, and then Chichester, you said. So that's your married
Chichester
name.
is my married name,
Uh-huh.
and I've been married. Um, just celebrated my anniversary on June 13th. I've been married for 33 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, Ree, it's
Been
been that long.
together
Okay.
for, we've been together 38 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Whoa. Yeah, I didn't even, yeah.
Yeah. So
So okay, so we've known Dickie so
for a
I
long
yeah,
time.
a long time. A long
Uh-huh.
time. Yeah, I was a kid then. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Uh-huh. You were
Okay.
still in high school.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
30, well, even before that,
For
because
that, you was in elementary school when he
yeah,
came
it was
around.
38. It's been,
Yeah.
yeah, I was eight, like eight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know
Yeah.
you were together that long.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with this series, as I was saying before, it's featured people who showcase authenticity, but also courage, resilience, perseverance, and just being rooted in faith to overcome life challenges. So, what have been some significant hardships that you've encountered that required you to be resilient and courageous and practice faith?
My biggest one is I was molested as a young girl. I was put into a world that I didn't belong into. And all of my teenage years, I struggled with identity. I struggled with trying to fit in. I struggled with just the overall perspective of being a victim of a sexual molestation. I was ashamed. I had low self esteem. Um, and if it wasn't for your mom, who helped me to get counseling and everything, that was the beginning of the doorway that opened that allowed me to realize that I wasn't by myself. I always thought that I was in a world by myself, that I was the only one that had went through the pain and the suffering and the all the different emotions that is involved with being a victim of molestation, of sexual molestation. So from that point on, when I started doing counseling, the doors started opening up, and the more the doors opened up, the more the spirit part came in from doing one-on-one therapy, doing support groups. And the older I've gotten, I realized that when I look back at my life from that beginning point, when I knew what was going on with me was not right, I knew God had carried me over those different pebble stones in my life, and if it wasn't for God, I could have been either a prostitute or I could have been a drug addict. I could have been strung out on drugs somewhere. So it was by God's grace and mercy that I am able to sit here and talk about that. And I think those that know me well knows that there was one time in my life I couldn't put the word molestation in the perpetrator that did it to me. I couldn't put those two words together and say it out my mouth without being in a ball of tears. So um,
Mhm.
I feel blessed to be able to sit here today and speak to you, and not only that, but I'm speaking to people that I've never speak to before about something like that. Um, I I'm grateful that this opportunity is here for me, because I'm very closed. I don't share a lot of my personal business with just anybody. I have to really trust you, and I have this guard that I keep up, and this boundaries that I keep up. And trust me, I read people like a book,
Yes,
you
you
know.
do.
and,
Yes, you do.
and if I don't feel your energy and I don't feel comfortable with you, then I stay away from you. So
Mhm, mhm. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that. A big part of why a part of the series, like I was saying, is how do you go through the dark things in life, the challenging things, and some being things that could people don't come back from. Like you were
mhm.
saying, the what you've experienced, that people don't always come back from that. Not only have you come back from it, but you've built this amazing life for you and your children. And you are someone that we saw physically, and in your life breaking generational, kind of I guess curses,
Generation curse.
breaking, yeah, strongholds of
Mhm.
certain behaviors. You are
But
one of the people,
Greta, this
yeah.
this this here is this will always be a part of my life. always, every I don't live it. I don't live in my past, but my past has will always be a part of my life. But with that being said, I have learned to live my life accepting my past because my past has taught me how to deal with life on life terms. Because if you think about it, as a young child, I didn't have no one. I didn't really have that nurturing that I needed to help me to learn how to love myself, how to not have low self esteem, not to the self worthiness, all the things that I felt, the shame, you yourself never knew as a little girl. None of y'all never knew.
Mhm.
No one never knew. I felt it was like a heavy burden of a shame that I carried with me 24/7. But I tell you one thing, the minute that I was more in acceptance of it and realized that my trauma might be ugly and it might when I tell it to other people it might look ugly, but actually my trauma has built me to be as resilient as I can possibly be, and I
Mhm.
grow each and every day and I heal each and every day because each day brings on a different perspective that I have to deal with, and I have to remind myself, okay, you got to be grateful because at any day you could be this, you could be doing this, or you could not have this. So when that day comes and I wake up and I'm sitting down in front of the computer and I have to work and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I just don't feel like it today. I will, since I've been working from home, I really have gotten more in touch. And I say to myself, you got to remember, you got this to be grateful for, you got this to be grateful for. And then I'll snap out of that feeling.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, because another question I have is that, yeah, you live your life with such faith. Pretty much scrolling on your Facebook feed is pretty
Uh-huh.
much Christian biblical scriptures. It's pretty much your
Yeah, yeah.
whole feed, right? And I think this used to be your banner, but it's not now. But I did want to highlight that on your banner used to be Isaiah 43:19. Never lose hope. Just when you think it's over, God will make a way for you. And so, how has your spirituality helped you heal? Um, and how does it inform how you live your life now? You were sharing a little bit about that, but specifically, how did you come to be your life being so deeply rooted in faith?
Because I have a faith. I always said, faith of a mustard seed. That's my true belief. Faith of a mustard seed, knowing that I have not to worry because at the end of the day, God has me. It's everything is in God's control. He has laid my path out, and as long as I surrender to Him, which I try to do my best at, I'm not no Bible toting person with walking around with a Christian book in my hand and then walking up to people and say, "Hey, you got to read the Bible." You know, I read my daily devotionals every day, and I have come more in touch with just the thought process of the universe. Whatever you put out in the universe, you get back out from the universe. So if you're feeding it negative things, you're gonna get back negative things. So I try to keep my thoughts as positive as possible because I want that good feeling. I like that good feeling. I like that feeling that I'm okay sitting by myself, playing my music, getting on the floor, dancing, and doing whatever I need to do. I'm okay with that because you know why? I'm at peace with myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he brings peace.
Hmm.
Right. And so that's one of the scriptures you highlighted. Are there other scriptures that give you that
I like
comfort you or give you strength?
I like ask and it will be given you. Search and you will find. Knock and the door will be open for you. Matthew 7:7.
Okay.
I like I can't quote all of them. I like Matthew 17:20. I like Proverbs 31:10 through 31. That's the one that's talk about the woman, the rubies, the devotional,
Yeah.
the rubies, yes. I like Romans 8:28. See, I have my little things around my desk.
Okay. The scripture. What does that one say?
This one it says, "Today I trust God with my life in every situation. I believe that nothing is impossible with Him, and He works all things together for my good." Romans 8:28. and I have my serenity prayer, which is on my living room wall,
Mhm.
to accept the things that I cannot control.
Mhm. Thank you for that.
Uh,
And then along your life and along just the journey that you had, what life lessons have you learned and perhaps that you're still learning?
oh, a lot, because like I said, I'm in a continuing stage of healing, um, and there's I don't like to be rejected, so I'm in the process. I have to in the process of still learning to accept the things. That's why I have that quote on my wall. I have
Mhm.
to accept the things that I have no control of. And there's truth behind the statement that things happen for a reason and a season in your life. And
Mhm.
you and I talked a little bit about that the other day. You know, you have to be able to let whatever it may be that is changing that's not in your control, you have to let it go on, whether it's a person, place, thing, or whatever. It's You have to let it go on because God is allowing for that change to come about, and it's time for you. It's no matter how much you might not want to give, don't want to accept it. You have to know that it is because of His doing that it is happening, and if it's meant to come back, He will circle it back to you when the time is right.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. We talked about sometimes it seems like, you have to let it go of something that you used to be attached to, but
Mhm,
that is also how he's elevating you, that it needs to be removed from your life and the change, the renewal happens with that.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah. But it's not easy. It's not easy.
No.
Absolutely not. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna ask one more question, then I'm gonna open it up for the group to ask questions for
Okay.
you if they have
Okay.
questions or comments.
Okay.
So, what advice do you have for anyone who has experienced abuse or other traumatic experiences early in life?
One of the biggest things that I had to learn to do, and that's was my growing point, was not to blame myself,
Mhm.
not to blame others. For the longest time, I blame others, and to accept it. And I had to learn how to love myself. I had very, very, very low self esteem, and I had to, um, over the years, learn to tap into my spiritual soul. And one of the things that I didn't say is that the little girl inside of me, she needed the nourishment. So I was provided the resource information that I needed so that I could nurture her. And in return of nurturing her has helped me to become more of a stronger person and being able to accept the reality of what I went through as a little girl and not be ashamed of it no more, and know that it has helped me to grow, into this woman that I am today.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much, Reed. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, so with that, any comments or questions for Ree? And you can come off mute or you can put it in the chat.
Hey, this is Kenya. I have a question. Hi, Ree. Hi,
Hi,
Vanessa.
Ken.
Hello.
All right. So, in the spirit of everything that you just shared with everyone, and I appreciate you sharing, and I applaud your bravery because I know that this is not easy for you. But I feel like the more you speak about it, it doesn't own you. So you're able to get it out, and you're able to let yourself know that this will not stop you. With that said, as you've gone through, your life and in your career, when you've been faced with obstacles where doubt starts to creep in, how do you get yourself out of that cycle so that you
Talk to
can move
God.
forward? Yeah.
Talk to God.
Yeah.
I have a devotional book here. And you see my little yellow stickers? I will read my devotional book every morning. And I have inspirational posters up. Just a lot of inspirational things. And I have this little thing here called the Secret Daily Teachings that I read every day. And I journal. I do a lot of journal. I write things down, and I will write my thoughts down, whatever's bothering me, and I will cry if I have to while writing it. And I'll go back maybe a week from now or maybe a month from now, and I'll reread it, and it helps me to be able to see what emotion I was dealing with. And that's the reason that I do my journals, because then I can see all the different emotions that I'm dealing with. And once I started learning my emotions, and I realized that my emotions was connecting back to my trauma, it made it much easier to connect the dots, and figure out, okay, if this emotion is triggered from my trauma, then I need to learn how to deal with this emotion and not associate this emotion with my trauma. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes a ton of sense. Yeah. So it's very impactful what you just said as far as like how to, as we get older and we, encounter new challenges in life that we, weren't prepared for, weren't taught to expect. I feel like a lot of us in our community, especially, are living lives for the first time because
Mm-hmm.
our ancestors, or even a generation apart, probably didn't didn't experience nowhere near any of the stuff we're going through, and we have
Mm-hmm.
way more tools to help us get through it, and we're able to speak our truth. So I really, I really appreciate, um, I really appreciate the experience you're having now as it's helping you build and grow, and self, and the self, just preserving oneself is like
Thank you.
the major thing. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
love you.
I love you too.
Hey, anyone else? Any questions or comments?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
Oh man, I'm a little nervous, but I've just been amazed and humbled. And my name's Heidi.
Hi, Hattie.
And hi. Um, I wanted to share that happened to me too. And so it was just really beautiful to hear it coming from you and the way you talked about it and the way you are reclaiming and continue to reclaim. Um, and then I have a question, and I feel nervous about asking it. Um, I have done a lot of, I'm a anti-racist and also in the work of ending supremacy and through healing trauma and processing trauma. Um, and I lived off grid and did some work in the ancestral realm. And my connection, the thing that has kept me going, has been an indigenous or like a relationship to the earth as spirit, as my spiritual guide, and the universe as my spiritual guide. And I don't know, I just have that, like, is that okay? No, not is that okay, but as we are integrating, hopefully, I would like to begin integrating culturally and understanding how we can have these conversations. I mean, this is an incredibly healing conversation. And this is better than therapy, you know? And y'all know what you're doing. And so how does it feel to you all to also have others in the space that connect with Great Spirit and the earth as well as God? That's my question. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
You're welcome.
Well, I don't know if the question was guided towards Greta or the group, but
Oh,
Heidi,
okay.
congratulations and hugs to you. This is Kenya. Sorry, I'm not coming on camera because I look a hot mess, but I would definitely say I understand where you're coming from. Gardening is my spiritual outlet. It is literally saving my life, being outside with my garden. And people don't understand me, and I don't need them to understand me. I need them to respect it. So if you're saying that the way you center yourself is through a different method of spiritual calling, that is what's right for you, and that is what if it's important to you, then that's what's right.
Thank you, Kenya, and thank you, Heidi. Thank you for joining today too. Um I've seen you join on LinkedIn, and then I saw you join this. And so I'm so deeply appreciative that the message of healing, because really what this series as well is about inspiring people, but providing a level of healing. Like I was saying, that we assume because people show up like a Reed with balanced energy and with courage, and you come and people come into spaces seeming so whole and um I don't know, just like healthy that they've arrived there because they've never been through anything difficult in life. That's what we assume, because it's like, oh, it must have been easy because look how you show up in life. You show up kind, you show up courageous, you show up connecting with people. Yeah, confident. So you must have just had an easy life.
Yeah,
And what I found is usually the exact opposite, that
yeah.
if you actually ask that person their story, their life story and what they've been through, you're like, whoa, what? Right? And you can come into spaces and laugh, that you can, interact with people, that you can want to also be in spaces where you want to provide healing to others. How does one do that? Right? And I think, Heidi, yeah, I think God created earth, right? And there is a reason why people gravitate towards earth and water. We are, in biblical scripture, they said that Jesus said, we're living water. We're living water, And so to ground yourself in things that are in nature is to also understand that God created that as well. So I think, I so appreciate your response, and I so appreciate um that, yeah, like you were like, is that okay? Yes, absolutely. Like, who are we? Who am, to say how you are putting good into the world, who am I to say how you should do that? You know? And I love that you are here. Thank you so much, Heidi, for being here. And Ree, I don't know if you have also a response to Heidi as well.
Um, the grounding part is actual, because I've read that when you remember when we was younger and we used to be barefooted. I don't know who would remember this, but barefooted, and you would be on the grass, and the grass felt like, oh my gosh.
Mhm.
So I read that being outside and being barefooted on the grass, it helps to ground you. And my
Absolutely.
girlfriend,
Yeah.
I don't know if she's on this, if she joined the Zoom, but Tammy and I was talking about getting grounded, and I was like, yeah. I said I walked out in the yard the other day, and I was in the yard about 2 weeks ago, and I was barefoot, and I was like, oh my gosh, this feels so good. And she was like, I don't know if I can walk outside and get on the grass like that. I was like, okay.
But it does. It
Yeah,
feels,
she
and I think,
is here. There she go.
yeah, it does. Well, and I remember we used to get in trouble though, right? Because there's all these pictures of me when I was a little kid. I never wore my shoes. I always walked around. But back then people would say, "Oh, you don't do that because you're gonna get worms, right? You get worms." And I don't know, maybe you do. But so as you get older, but I think more and more. Because you think about what people do to recenter, they do yoga, you go for a run, you go, you swim, right? All those things. And there's a reason why people are baptized in water, right? I mean, all of that is significant. So thank you for that, Heidi. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks, Reese.
I find that um, when I'm not being lazy, that working out helps you to process things and keep you afloat. And it just sometimes when you think you got something that's so heavy on your mind, and we live in this rush world that we think everything's supposed to be answered right here and there. That when you work out or go walking, it relieves a lot. Yeah.
And yeah, if you could speak to that a little bit too, Bree, of you're always like very fit. All I know, I've known you all my life. Because I remember even seeing pictures of you when you were in high school. You played
I look
what?
like a chicken.
No, you're beautiful. You played field hockey.
Well, I'm talking about
And
my legs when I was younger. My legs were so dang on skinny that they looked like chickens.
no, people are taking many things to be thin these days. No. But yeah, can you tell us a little bit about your wellness journey as well?
Oh,
Wellness and
my motto is that I am not going to make the pharmaceutical company rich. I refuse to do that. I'm not going to do that because as you see the advertisements, you eat if you take a prescription, then you wind up taking another prescription, then you wind up taking another person, on and on and on and on. So I try my best to eat as healthy as possible. I do my smoothies. I've just started doing juices. And if I eat anything off schedule, it will be on Saturdays and Sundays. Other than that, like I said, I've been lazy this week so far with my workout and everything, but I try to stay as consistent as possible. Tammy's my workout buddy. If she speaks up, we go out, we go work out at the gym. But that's my motto as far as my health is concerned. I just refuse to make the pharmaceutical company rich. It's just it's a gimmick. It's you go into the doctor for one thing and there you go. They tell you, okay, get this prescription. Next thing you know, get this. You're gonna get this prescription because you got a side effect for this, and it's like a domino effect. It goes on and on and on and on and on.
Mhm. Absolutely. Okay. So, any other questions or comments for Rosemary Marie Chichester? Any other thoughts or questions? All right, and I'm seeing some things in the chat as well. Stephanie Bragley says, "Thank you for sharing. We appreciate your strength, bravery, and candor. Your stories help others. I agree with journaling. I add a short list of gratitude in my journaling. Prayer and being positive definitely work. We all go through challenges. I walk and pray, listen to the Bible to connect with God in my daily life for healing and connecting with Him." And Hamed said, I think we were talking about God and where he is, and he will find you where you're at as well. Hmm. Okay. Heidi has another question. What are your thoughts for us going forward in these times? Good question.
Is that for me
Yeah,
or is
that's
that
for
for the group? Because my thoughts that where
That's for
we at.
you, Marie. That's for you, Marie.
My thoughts about where we are going at right now. The world is a complete mess, but at the end of the day, you know who's going to have the last say so in all of this? That's going to be who your higher power. My higher power is God, and He's going to be the one that's going to have the final say so in all of this. So I don't watch the news because it's just too much negative stuff in the news. So that's like your eye, what you watch, you have to be careful what you let into your soul through your eyes. So I choose not to share my eyes on television as far as news is concerned. And as I say, God is going to be the one that's going to have the final say so on this.
Okay. So with that, Reed, thank you so much for sharing um, just your overall, your story. Thank you for, like Kenya said, your bravery, your courage, and because it's it's such a difficult thing to talk about anything, maybe hard or traumatizing that you may go through in life, but I think it's the things that relate to abuse, physical and sexual, um, it can be such an isolating kind of trauma. And so thank you so much for sharing, because the goal, like I said, of this series is to provide this like sort of ripple effect in the world of knowing, one, you're not the only one. You're not the only one who's been through, as I say, I've been through some things, right? That you're
Right,
not the
right,
only one that's been through some things in life. And some of our things are are uh more extreme, than others, but we've been through it and we've come
right,
out on the other side. But
right,
there's things we do in life so that we can be okay. So I wanted you to share that story of how do you get to being okay, right? And it's
right.
still a daily thing, but how do we get there? So thank you so much for your time. I very much love you. I put your her emails in the chat. So I told her one, so her emails in the chat if you want to book her for speaking engagements. Amen, right? Yes.
Yes.
So, so contact her for speaking engagements, and then the other thing being, we'll continue to pray on it. But when her book comes out, obviously, so just putting it out there. But definitely for her speaking engagements, possibly. I think reads so many people can be hear your story and know that they can heal as well. You know and they can get through it as well. Okay. And so here's, plug for me and my business. So follow me. You probably have followed me on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram, YouTube. So what I do after I post all of these great interviews on YouTube afterwards, the full length, and I'll usually do clips on my social media pages. So go to my page, Collaborative Change Greta. Come on YouTube and you can see this full interview. And so please share it with folks once it's on YouTube. And then also too, if you're interested in working with me, go to collaborativechangeconsulting.com. All right, let me read the chats and then we can get on out of here. Um,
Yes, because Daryl wants to. He was going to listen to it on the Facebook thing, but you couldn't get it on live, so I have to make sure that he can hear the recording.
Oh, good. Yeah. And thank you so much, everyone, for coming over from the live. I thank God very much that we still have people come over. And it also is a great example of, hey, if something else is not working, just pivot and do something else and it still will be great. Okay. Let's see what the chat says. So everyone's just saying it's great. Thank you. Thank you. This has been incredible. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. This took courage. I'm so proud of you. Seed planted. So thank you for sharing. Yeah, thanks for this community. So a lot of thank you, a lot of appreciation. Thank you so much for everyone for joining. And again, so join me in September. I'm making a short hiatus for July and August, and then I'm resuming the series for September. And so since you have been such a great group, the next speaker will be Timotheus Pope. And he is a pastor in Pennsylvania. He has a business called City Biz. He does a summer leadership camp for young people. But amazing, wonderful person. So okay, so keep a lookout for that information. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ree, for your time. And
Thank you for giving me this. What would I want to say? You planted the seed in me to know that God had a purpose of me being here to do this, and like I told you in the beginning, I was nervous, but when I prayed on it, I was aware of the fact that this has already been planned. It's just that He came through you. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good whatever part of the day or time zone you are in. Bless you all. Thank you for coming. Okay. I'll see you in September.
All
Okay.
right,
Bye-bye.
see you. Bye bye.